Welcome back to the farm, everybody. I'm Eric, and today we've got our number 2 project that we're going to start tackling this summer. So during the winter, we had our roof cave in on our woodshed, and that other half is about ready to go too. What we're going to do is put a new roof on it for this year. I was going to rebuild the entire woodshed, and I just don't want to put the money into it right now. Everything being so expensive, I don't have access to like rough sawn lumber or anything like that. I have to go to a big box store and buy everything, and it is way overpriced. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to use some materials that we have here around the homestead. And first, we have to pick up the mess. So if you guys remember, a few months ago, we had a tree fall down right in the middle of the driveway, and we had to clean it up. So we cleaned everything up. We kind of pulled everything back here up towards the house, and I had some smaller pieces here that we'll use. It's all burnable lumber, but I just piled it right here, and it's in the way for doing anything on the actual woodshed itself. So we're going to cut this all up right now, get this all taken care of. I need to get these piles of wood into its proper place here and drying out, and not with tarps on them. I don't like doing that. So we're gonna get the small pieces cut up. We're gonna put it underneath the tarp for now, and then we're gonna start working on this roof over here and kind of tidying this whole area up. Let's go get that saw gassed up and get our loppers over here and start cutting this stuff. Well, we got most of this stuff cut up here. I'm just going to take all our cut pieces and I'm going to stack them up underneath this tarp here for now. All I'm trying to do is make room to get around this whole woodshed. Once I'm able to get all the way around it, I'll be able to assess what is going on and how bad it is. It looks pretty bad. Yeah, I'm not digging it. I know that. I do have some materials around here, and we got to start gathering that stuff up too. But first, let's get this wood stacked and up out of the way so we can get our ladder and ourselves around this woodshed. All right, we got all this wood cleaned up. I got it all stacked back on the pile here, and I'm just kind of looking at what I want to do next. I think I'm going to have to get inside of here. There's just a little bit of wood here. I think I'm going to pull that tarp, grab what little bit of wood is left here, and we're going to put that over here underneath the tarp, and then I'm going to actually tear down this half of the roof up here. I need to start scouting for materials because the little bit of tin that I have here, I scavenged off of an old building, and I think the sheets are only 7 feet long. Well, it just so happens I have an 8-foot long roof for what I need for the sheets up there. So I'm still not going to go buy anything, but I think I have some shorter pieces in the barn. Nothing's going to match up. That's like some real old roof style roofing. It's going to be just kind of a hodgepodge, but I think I'm going to put some smaller pieces on the bottom and then run the longer pieces over top of that. It should get me through a few winters until I can really set up the Taj Mahal woodshed that I've been wanting to. But right now, all I'm worried about is function and no cost, basically. So I'm sure we got stuff we can do that with. Hell, I'd put a thatched roof up if I had to, but got some of the schmutz picked up here. So I'm gonna pull off that metal roof that's up there. I just laid it up there. There's nothing holding it down. So I'm just gonna pull that down. We're gonna get it out here, see how many pieces I have, see how long they are, and come up with a good plan. Short people problems. All right, we got all the pallets out of the way. Now I think what I'm gonna do is take my leaf blower and kind of blow around it and get me some nice clean area to work in, and then we're gonna take this roof off right here. So obviously we're on a different day here. The weather today, high of 60. And I think we hit our high a couple hours ago. So walked outside, I'm like, you know what, we got to get this woodshed done pronto because I keep putting it off. We're going to try to knock this out this weekend so we can at least start stacking the wood that we've got already cut into the shed, and we got to get cutting some more wood. Do I look like Mario doing that with a hammer?
Do it again. A little bit.
One of those boing?
Well, you're wearing green, so you look a little more like Luigi.
Huh?
I said you're wearing green, so you look a little more like Luigi.
Okay. This is also what happens when Michigan is getting blown out at home by Texas. You gotta do something at halftime, and it ain't watching the rest of that game.
Well, there you go.
Oopsies. I know how I was talking about not having to buy anything for this project, but I actually did have to break down and buy 4 2x4s just so we could complete it. But everything else just gonna be scrap stuff we got laying around. But I ran out of 2x4s. Not a good thing. Whoa. Whoa. Is that you?
Nope.
Yeah, this old woodshed's a little worse for wear. I give it a couple years max. That's about how long Candace likes to let me go with anything anyways, because then she wants it redone and changed and more better. And I've got a literal hot mess going on here. I've got a bunch of pieces of sheet metal we got out of the barn. This was scrap from a project a long time ago. Some pieces are 9 foot long, some are 8, some are 7 foot long, so they're all over the place. Some have the ends ripped down on them, so I was sitting here trying to come up with in my head how I was going to put this together, and Candace said, screw it, just put it together. It's a hot mess. It's a roof for a woodshed. So that's what we're doing.
Well, that one fits good. Is that the 10-footer?
Yeah. I wish they were all like that. I just put 'em up
Right?
there, but
That'd be perfect.
man, I priced out some sheet metal at Menards the other day. The cheapest I can find for an 8-foot piece was like $35 or $36 or something stupid. And I've got all this here, but this is all 7-foot pieces and they're wrinkled real bad, and this stuff is a different design than the other stuff, so it doesn't want to mesh up together. What do you always tell me? It's a woodshed.
Just a woodshed. And we know the rest of it isn't going to last very long, so let's just get her through the year. Careful. Like I said, people, don't try this at home.
Well, it's coming along pretty good. I did a little bit of measuring, and I got to cut a couple more stringers here quick, and it should be good. I'm going to put another stringer right here in line, and then we're going to put one right about here, right about there. Got a couple 2x4s. We are going to make a few cuts, and this is the sheet that I have left. I have 3 pieces. None of them are 8 foot long, so I think what I can do, if I did my math correctly, is I can put a full sheet and a full sheet and then space in about 2 foot on the very end down here. And I should have 3 pieces left to do that. So I can fill the gap here under this one, fill a little 2 foot gap here, a little 2 foot gap here. Now that's only gonna leave me with about a foot left over on the back side here. And I do have one more piece out in the barn. I'm hoping it's going to be wide enough to fit down the whole length. We'll see. If it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. No big deal. Let's go get these 2x4s cut down. So I figure we're doing pretty good here with our little project. I know it's not a Taj Mahal of any sort of woodshed, but I think it'll do. So the main purpose of this was to do it on the cheap, you know. Use the scraps that I've got around here that I've been hoarding for years anyways. And, you know, use some of that up and not have to spend a bunch of money. And yes, I'm using my picnic table as my sawhorse yet again. I think this is going to work out great too, because got all this wood down already, and we are bracing for a cold and snowy winter up here in Michigan. So I want to make sure to get out and start cutting wood. Unfortunately, it's going to be 90 degrees for like the next 2 weeks, so probably not going to get a lot of wood cutting done, but at least it's done, ready to go. I do have some trees that fell down in a windstorm about a week or so ago. Huge oak trees right out in the middle of the woods. Some are off the trail. I've got tops down, so we're gonna be cleaning all that up here real quick too. But I want to have a spot in the woodshed to put all this wood once I get it cut. Did have to go out and buy a couple of 2x4s here. I did notice though that these did come down in price just a little bit. So we were paying $5.50 I think for a 2x4 you know, a year or so ago. These were on, you know, all the way down to $3.50 per 2x4 when they should be about $1, especially for the kind of wood we're getting for our money. All right, let's grab our 2x4s and go throw them up here in the rafters. So you guys might have seen me putting a little piece of scrap on top of the 2x4s to hang them up here by myself so I could hold them. Candace had to run to town quick and pick up a few things. We are gonna be watching a little bit of football this afternoon, so trying to get this project tied up and done so we can enjoy a little bit of our football kickoff weekend. So I'm gonna wait to put in the 2 stringers back here and back here until I get the sheet up, and then I can put it right at the end of the sheet, because those sheets right there, they're not all the same size. So I'm just going to kind of sketch this all in one piece at a time here. All right, we're gonna start throwing some of the sheet up top now, and I'm actually gonna use the blue sheet. For whatever reason, I'm gonna have a blue and white roof that you will never be able to see except for by airplane, but maybe that's the OCD in me or whatever, but I'm gonna have white on one end and blue on the other. That's how we're rolling. So we're just gonna get this up, put one screw in to hold the top down here. We're gonna just kind of lay this out, so bear with me a minute. A little frosty. I'm gonna grab my tape measure and make sure I've got enough left over to piece this all in like I want. Okay, upon further review, I did a little bit more calculations here. I will end up being 4 inches short. Yeah, kind of sucks, doesn't it? But all my grid work is in here, and then I do have this thin piece here, and I'm gonna be a couple inches short here. There's not much I can do there. I'll end up having to put a piece of OSB strip or something down there. I'm not worried about that, but I think I come up with a plan. I've got a lot of overhang right here. If I take all this overhang back about 2 inches, all the way down the entire length, then I'll push all that back, and it'll give me just enough where I can make 2 cuts on this last sheet. And actually, yeah, 2 cuts, 3 pieces, and I'll be done. But I've got the first 2 pieces already screwed in here. So that would require me to get back up and unscrew that stuff and move it all the way down 2 inches, which I think I'm talking myself into. Then it'll all be, otherwise I'm gonna have to use one of these old pieces of sheet metal that doesn't match up with the ribbing on that sheet metal. And if you can see, I just leaned one up back here, which I actually really like this idea. I think we can just lean them up down the way. I can get airflow through here, but it'll prevent any splashback from coming off the roof right here. What happens is it usually curls down and then hits the back of the wood back here. If I could just lean these pieces of sheet metal up all the way along, that'll prevent any of that splashback from happening. So I want to do that with the older pieces, and I can just put, like, you know, one screw to just kind of tack it into place there. But like I said, now I have to go back up. There's only a few screws in it. I think there may be 6 screws total in this one and 6 in the other one. It's just getting back up there and doing it quick. So I think I talked myself into it. I'm gonna do that. Just went up and unscrewed all of our sheets up here. I noticed one thing, which I'm going to redo everything that I just got done. Okay, let me explain. This sheet here was ripped short, so it should have another few inches out here, but it was ripped short. So instead of putting that sheet there and having an overlap and an extra piece sitting there, I'm going to take this sheet, put it down to this end, and then I may have enough where I don't have that gap on the end down here, because I think that piece right there will fill it. So yeah, there's that. So we're gonna start rearranging this stuff and screwing it back down. I'm gonna run that back a few more inches, I think about almost 3 inches back, give me plenty of room with this sheet. And basically all I gotta do is screw it back down, cut this other sheet twice, and put up a couple more boards that I already got cut. So should be pretty quick going now. Just gonna check this real quick. I know this is a little bit more work, but I think we're really gonna like it in the end. Probably gonna be worth it. And I know I got a lot of holes in this sheet metal. I'm just gonna come up here with a little bit of caulk and throw some caulk in the holes quick and call it good. So this is the north side of the shed, and I'm putting a few extra screws on this side just so the wind doesn't come up in the winter, and want to roll all this sheet metal off. Yeah. Well, it worked by moving all those sheets over. Got a little extra strip here, got plenty of room. It covers. So now we just have to piece in the few pieces at the very back end. This is not gonna be fun cutting this sheet metal because all I have is this super old pair of tin snips. I've used them before. I've cut sheet metal before. It's not fun. But we're gonna do it. I'm not going to the store to buy another saw unless Candace says it's okay.
Not today.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. So if I figured this out right, I can make 2 cuts. I'll have 3 pieces. We'll go splice those back in there. I gotta throw those couple 2x that I cut already up in there. And that's gonna be about it for the roof. Like I said, I'm gonna probably put a little bit of caulk on the holes that are up there. This stuff was all used. It's got holes in it. But I am gonna go and double check my measurements before I cut this one last time just to make sure that I've got it right. Yeah, I was right. I'm always right. There we go. One more cut. There we go. Candace said she doesn't like it. So I'm gonna have to tear it all back apart.
I did not. Eric cut a board.
Yeah. Hex on Jim Duggan!
Now you're stuck on the tree.
I opted to run the extra sheets that I had back here horizontally instead of vertically like this. I didn't have enough to go all the way around. Plus this tree root right here was really causing me some grief trying to go vertical. So it's just got a couple screws in it, nothing fancy at all, but it's gonna keep some of the weather out and it still allows for airflow. There is a gap on the bottom back there. There's also plenty of room through the slats here on the sides. I'm gonna come up with something a little bit better than just standing pallets up here. That's basically all I did. This thing's just leaning here like this. But all in all, I think it'll work. It should work just fine. I mean, all I'm looking for is to keep the firewood a little bit dry. Obviously there's some gaps and holes and stuff. I'm gonna come up underneath here and just hit these holes right here with a little bit of silicone, and I'm sure it'll leak a little bit. Hell, the last one leaked on us, so this is actually gonna be, I think, an upgrade over our last roof. So now I have to convince the kids that it's time to start stacking all this wood, and that it's time to go cut more wood, which they don't like doing, but they sure like a warm house in February. Let's hang this last sheet up here, and then we're gonna see how we're gonna put this sheet on. If I'm just gonna shove it up there like that, or if we're gonna cut it, I don't know. I opted to cut this piece in half. It actually filled it out real nice. I like it. I'm digging this. I like this project. Hey, that'll do right there. I like to call it vintage, the vintage look. No, I think it'll work out good because you got good airflow underneath here. It'll stop all of our pieces when we throw up on top from going over out the back. Got good airflow on both ends. We got open front end. Well, that pretty much completes this build. So that's two big builds that we got done this year so far. We got our well house pump installed and the new roof on, and we fixed our roof on the woodshed from the collapse from last winter. I really wanted to get this up and on there so we can start filling this thing full of wood. We've got a cold and snowy winter coming, and we need to get this thing filled all the way up, all the way out. Thanks a lot, guys. If you guys like this video, give me a big like, share this video out there with your friends. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Every day I'm looking for a way to return to the time when everything was easy to learn. Don't know when it started to get so serious.